Hi guys, welcome back. So a bit of a bizarre story today. We're going to have to talk about Owen Farrell again, I'm afraid. And yes, let's talk about Eddie Jones because again, he's blown up in a press conference and I want to kind of clear up something, make my point of view well known on it. So let's get into it because it's been pretty interesting. So we had the yellow card in the game against Wales that was then put on review to the review bunker. They had up to 8 minutes to review and they upgraded it to a red card, and it looked for all the world that that was it. It was the correct decision. It was a red card. Owen Farrell in danger of missing some of the World Cup or most of the World Cup. We were just waiting to see what sort of ban he was going to get. Then we got the shock news that after a 3.5 hour video review with a supposedly independent panel, and I say supposedly because a lot of people say, well, how could this be independent? Because they overturned that decision back down to a yellow. It was an all-Australian panel, but we weren't there for the 3.5 hours. In all the hundreds of comments, I think over 500 comments on that video, plenty of interesting things brought up. Maybe there should have been a kind of differing number of people on that panel from different countries. I don't know, but we didn't know what they looked at, and it looked like in what they said that it was the change of direction that Jamie George put on Taine Basham. That was the mitigation back down to a yellow. Now, I explained in the video that I couldn't quite see that because even if, yes, he'd moved to the left or the right or whatever you want to say laterally, that didn't change the fact that Owen Farrell went from a fairly upright position to an even more upright position in the tackle, hitting high, and also he had his arm tucked at all times. So I didn't quite see that, but we weren't in that viewing, so I was kind of thinking maybe there's something in it that we don't know, giving a little bit of benefit of the doubt. And actually what we have now is a transcript of what Owen Farrell said in his defence, what was put together for him by his defence team. Let's see if we agree. I'm still not quite sure, to be honest, but anyway, let's go through a little bit here. He, Owen Farrell, did not anticipate or foresee that Taine Basham and Jamie George would get involved with each other, why Taine Basham would be propelled sideways, across and diagonally towards him. He said that when Taine Basham was propelled across and towards him, he did not have enough time and space to try to get his head out of the way. He said that the position of his head was a subconscious reaction to Taine Basham's body being propelled across him. The player then gave evidence in a measured and thoughtful manner, which apparently helps the case. He was a matter-of-fact witness, blah, 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 and it agreed with what they saw in the footage. Now, I don't know. I don't really agree with that. Did that mean he had no time to dip? He wasn't dipping. He actually went up. Did that mean he had no time to get his hands out to wrap? Looking at it even real time, no. To me, looking at it from a rugby point of view, he was trying to tuck his arm in and smash with his shoulder like he has done a number of times. So it's a good defence. It was the best defence they could come up with, but I'm not buying it. But that panel obviously did buy it. I don't know how many tackles that panel has made. I don't know who they were, but let's see if the independent panel will agree. And when I say independent panel, I mean the next independent panel that reviews this independent panel. Some people, indeed Shaun Edwards, the defence coach of France, has come out and said he thought it was the correct decision, which is interesting. I mean, the huge majority of comments, maybe 95% of the comments, thought that it was the wrong decision. But anyway, I thought that was the end of it. He was going to be even more the pantomime villain, but he's been there all his career and life would just go on. I don't know how much it even would have affected England, him not being there or being there, because George Ford's a very experienced player as well. But anyway, today we have the news that actually World Rugby's getting involved because it was the Six Nations that did the review, the independent review, and World Rugby has a right to appeal that decision, and they're going to get another panel put together. It's going to be interesting to see who those people are, where they're from, but another independent panel to review, appeal the other independent panel to see if they got the wrong decision, and maybe it will go from back to a yellow to a red. Whatever happens, it just makes it even more of a farce. I think World Rugby felt under pressure maybe to do something about it. I thought they were just going to keep quiet and let it go, but I don't know, is it the right decision? Does it just make it worse? Well, I just don't know what's right anymore anyway. But let's see, they're going to set a date soon. We're going to know when that's going to happen. They're going to have to do it pretty soon because they need to let Owen Farrell and England know what the situation is. Can he play? Can't he play? Do they need to call up someone else? So that's a bit of a farce. Let's see where that goes, but I'd love to know your thoughts on that below. Should they just have left it alone, or is this actually the right thing to get involved? Is this making it more transparent and more above board by actually appealing decision of the Six Nations. Anyway, now the other thing that's come up is Quade Cooper has refused to take Eddie Jones's phone call. Clearly incredibly upset about not being in the World Cup squad, which everyone should be if they're not picked when they were in the frame. But he's not even picking up the phone. That's unusual. It does seem like something else has gone on. He's not even in the A squad as well, so it looks like Quade Cooper has pretty much walked away. To be fair to Quade Cooper, he has called up Carter Gordon and wished him luck and given him some advice, so that's all great, but certainly between Quade Cooper and Eddie Jones, things are not good. And then in the press conference before they left, I think it looked like they were in the airport wearing their traditional Australian hats, and Eddie Jones typically took issue with what reporters said. I mean, they were always going to ask about Quade Cooper and about the people who weren't picked, so I'm not quite sure what he expects. And he said it was the worst press conference ever and that the reporters were just absolute rubbish, blah, 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 like he's done pretty much his whole career. Now, the kind of prevailing view from many people in the mainstream media especially, I was watching something, I think it was The Breakdown, the New Zealand one, and they say, oh, Eddie Jones plans everything he says, he's the master manipulator. And for ages I've been saying, look, there's a little bit true to that. Sure, he does play mind games, etc., but he definitely doesn't plan everything he says. He just gets wound up. I don't know why we can't call a spade a spade. Eddie Jones gets wound up. He hates the media. This question was always going to come. He could have answered it professionally, and he did not. And that's just what he does. He reacts, he flies off the handle, and he blames the reporters for asking questions they were always going to ask. So anyway, that's my view on that one. I'd love to know your thoughts there. Is it all right? Is it right for World Rugby to appeal the Six Nations decision to downgrade Owen Farrell's red card to a yellow and maybe get it back up to a red? Goodness me, it's getting complicated. I'd love to know your thoughts as always, all those comments below, and I'll catch you next time.